Welcome aboard, it's Captain G with Historical Board Gaming's Operation Iceberg, the Battle of Okinawa, Turn 2. So as I pan back, I'll start with the growing dead pile on both sides. Japan has lost territories in 3 pillboxes. They have a number of militia and regular infantry. They lost their 1st artillery. And they have 5 air bases that have been destroyed or captured that they've lost their kamikazes. For the U.S., in addition to the Bellawood that they lost as an escort carrier in Turn 1, they got 3 hits on the Hornet in Turn 2, and then the Pennsylvania battleship were lost. And these 9 fighters are naval fighters that could not land because they lost not only 1 that would have landed here and 2 that could have potentially landed on the Hornet, but they have a number of escort. Every escort carrier now that was in the fleet has been hit by kamikazes. So none of them can carry aircraft. They're out of operation. And there are 2 fleet carriers that each have 1 hit. 1 more hit on either one of these will take them out of action as well. And then a 3rd hit will sink it. For Japanese kamikaze strategy, sinking these really are give us nothing else. We've taken them out of action. They can't land airplanes. They don't get repaired. That's good. They do provide AA in the zone they're in, and that's what Eggman's using them for, to protect this carrier. But that's really all they can do. So from a shore bombardment perspective, as we roll through the turn order, the U.S. fired 21 naval gunfire support shots into this territory and only scored 1 hit. Not because of the pillbox and the protections, but just because of bad rolls. Battleships do naval gunfire support at 3 and cruisers at 2. So lots of shots, but low odds, but he was expecting more than just 1 hit. What he did succeed in, over here, the tactical bombers and heavy strategic bombers did take this airbase out of action. Had 4 hits the first time. He got 4 or 5 more hits this time. He only needed 2 more. 6 hits will take an airbase out. So it's not captured. He still has to move in and capture it, but he knows it'll take him a while to get there. And what this does is it makes it inoperable so the Japanese can't use kamikazes there. And then on this small island, this Marine force finally stormed their way off the beaches, secured that airbase, and then during the reinforcement phase, as a result, they added 4 more Corsairs to their forces. So success on the northern end of the island. Success here in this strategic city, Naho. These 3 Army LVTs that were sitting here in the sea zone, like this Marine one, rather than hit the beach to join the Marines that were already fighting off the beach and have a -1, we decided, we didn't see anything in the rules to say you couldn't. Instead, they landed here. So that's 1 move, and then 2 moved into this. So they did not attack with a negative. So between them and the Marines coming up off the beach, they were able to overwhelm the few militia that were left. They did suffer some artillery counterfire from the Japanese that had moved down, but they secured that city. Now this force and the reinforcements, and likely these, now that they can leave, will work their way up and secure this airbase and make sure that these Japanese don't retake that city. In the south, so that was 0.5, 0.6, large force landed here in this territory, and then the trucks able to carry 2 infantry into the mountain territory, because trucks have the extra movement. Infantry can't move on their own. hit this territory. So there was a battle. Because of the mountain territory, they're all attacking at -3. So low odds. The Japanese survived that attack, and then later on the Japanese counterfire. Artillery can't fire into a territory where your own forces are, but they were able to fire down into here, as well as the artillery in this territory and the artillery here. So the Japanese wiped out the rest of the U.S. infantry, and then launched a ineffective attack, an infantry coming down from here, a tank coming down, a couple militia coming down, because they wanted to take out these vehicles, because the LVTs are the only thing besides the trucks that can transport the US in. And they also wanted to prevent these trucks from retreating, because if there's a battle here, trucks have no combat value, and Eggman had the option of retreating back into this zone. He intentionally only put 8 pieces here to leave room for these 4 in case these guys got into trouble. But because there's a battle here, we decided, again, not specified in the rules, not very specific, so we decided that you can't retreat into another battle. So they had to stay, but fortunately for the US, this mountain territory has the penalty on the Japanese. So their counterattack, even though they brought in these extra tanks to help, was also equally ineffective. It's very hard to fight in these mountain territories with those negatives. So that was point 6. For reinforcements, the Japan, we got the replacement kamikazes. The US added another squadron of Corsairs, and then Japan rolled a 2, and they needed to hit a 1 or a 2 to get the Yamato task force, so it's here. So at the start of turn 3, now the US has to deal with the Japanese fleet, just in case. Egg did put a blocker and some extra destroyers here, but next turn on the Japanese movement phase, these can destroy these transports, which means nothing because he has an infinite number of transports, or they can go this way and hit carriers. So this will force the US to spend resources here, and the more resources they spend here, the fewer resources they have available for the rest of the island. And again, even though it's the start of the turn, we like to know what's going on. So we rolled for initiative. The Japanese samurai only rolled a 4, and the US Marine rolled a 12. So it's 12-2. And the US retains initiative as we go into turn 3 next. So on behalf of Eggman, I'm Captain G. That is the update for the Battle of Okinawa this far. Over and out.